Hey guys, in this video I want to do a walkthrough of how to set up your first email campaign. Quick tip, remember always provide some form of incentivization in your email campaigns. For example, a 30% discount code. Also, always make sure your profit margins, meaning the price you set your products at, can withstand such a discount percentage. Meaning if you provide a discount code to everybody and send out this email campaign, make sure your profit margins or your prices are high enough so that even if someone has 30% off their product, you still make a good amount of profit so that you can become a successful business. So let's dive in. So to get to email campaigns, you're going to click this top left tab that says campaigns. It will bring you to this page. Right now I have no campaigns that are live or in draft form, so you don't see anything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click New Campaign at the top. Once you get here, you're going to click Email Campaign, create this campaign right there. So the first thing you have to do is decide what you want in the subject line of your email that you will be sending out to your target audience. This is probably the most important part of sending out an email campaign, right? This is almost like an art, right? Think about psychologically, if you were the customer, what would it take for you to open an email that you received from a store that you recently visited or you were a previous customer at? Generally, I like to use emojis. So if you don't know what an emoji is, it's one of these things here. I like to use the lightning bolt, and I will generally use it 3 times at the beginning, like this. Then I will write whatever I need to say. So depending on the type of computer you're using, whether it be MacBook or Windows, or depending on the version of Windows, how you use emojis will be different. I use a MacBook, so all I press is Control, Command, and Spacebar at the same time, and it will bring up this kind of emoji keyboard. I apologize in advance that I don't know how to open that emoji keyboard for Windows because I don't use Windows on my computer, but you can simply Google it. Just go to google.com and type how to use emojis on Windows and just write whatever window version you have and then just press enter, and then I'm sure you can find it very easily. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube as well, or on Google. You can click videos here and it'll bring you to examples of how you can use your emojis. With that said, I like using emojis because when you get emails in your email box, inbox, you probably have a bunch of emails that you haven't read yet, right? But most email subject lines do not have emojis because emojis are, I guess, relatively new and modern. So if you have an emoji, your email will stand out among all of the other emails. And that is to catch the attention of the customer, right? Then you actually want to have a very focused and concise and incentivizing email. So I like to generally, let's assume for this example, for this email campaign, we're going to create this for a Christmas holiday promotion. So the first thing I always write is what discount I'm going to give my customer. So I'm going to write 30% off in big capital letters. And then I'm going to write Christmas promotion. And then maybe you want to write whatever your store is. So, XYZ store or XYZ company, right? And then you may want to add a couple emojis at the end. So you go like that, right? You could do something like that. The point I'm trying to make is that your discount, whatever your incentive is, has to be the first thing you say. You want someone to read that. Sometimes I even do big, asterisk around it like that to really point it out, right? You don't want to write too much because, again, people only read the first couple words in a subject line. If they don't, if they're not interested in it, in those first couple words, they're not going to open that email. If someone doesn't open your email, then they're never going to return to your store. They're not going to access that email. So I'm just going to leave it as that. Obviously, you may want to take some time to work on it a little bit more, but those are kind of the essentials of writing a subject line. Then you have this checkbox. It says, I want to boost my campaign. If you don't know what boosting your campaign is, at least on Omnisend, when it says boosting campaign, it means give us another subject line for the campaign, and we'll resend it 48 hours after the initial campaign to those who have not seen the initial campaign but are likely to click and convert. It is that simple to use big data. All right, so what this means is that if you check this, when you have to add in another subject line. So let's just assume you created another subject line 2, maybe 30% off, and maybe this time I use holiday promotion instead. Or maybe this time I write holiday promotion and then I write 30% off, which I don't recommend, but the whole point of having a booster campaign is that you get to send a second email automatically. Omnisend will do this automatically for you. It will send a second email after 48 hours to everyone that did not open the first campaign when you first initially sent it out. So it's kind of like giving yourself another chance to engage those who were not interested in opening your initial email. And you want to try a different subject line because there's no point of emailing someone twice if you're just going to use the same subject line, assuming that they didn't open it because they weren't interested in your subject line. So maybe I changed the subject line like that, and instead of putting lightning bolts, I put, maybe I put this symbol here. Or actually, that doesn't do anything. Okay, so maybe I do, you could put whatever you want. You could put a picture of a dolphin if you wanted. You could do a picture, depends on what you're selling. Maybe selling sporting goods, right? You could do other random simple symbols in here as well. This is Christmas, so maybe I want to put a Christmas Santa Claus of some sort. Where is he? I know he's in here somewhere. There he is. I'm going to go like that. What's going on? There you go, right? Maybe I put a picture of Santa Claus, right? And then I do XYZ store. So you want to change it. You want to try to, it's basically a way of split testing which one is more successful. Then you want to do sender's name. So when you send an email, obviously by default you have to have a sender's name. So when you send out this email campaign, what do you want the sender's name to be for that email campaign? Generally, I will write the name of my store. So I'll just write XYZ store, XYZ store. Or you can write a name of an actual person. You can just be like John. You can do anything. The point is that you try different things until you see something that works. But generally, I just write XYZ store. You want to make sure you have a sender's email address. You'll notice that this is already populated. To populate that, you're going to go to your settings and input a sender's email address. So every single email that Omnisend sends out for you, they will use your default sender's email address. I don't have a video in this course on how to input your sender's email address, but you just go to settings and you input it. I would suggest not using an email with a gmail.com. Try to use an email that's professional. But if you don't have a professional email, then you could use a Gmail address. It's up to you. A pre-header. So a pre-header is, here, there's an explanation here. Pre-header is a short amount of text that follows immediately after the subject line of your emails. So sometimes a pre-header text can actually be seen before someone opens an email, depending on what email service they use. So you want to write something catchy here as well. I'm not going to write anything just for the sake of time, but you want to write, Christmas promotion, use 30% off discount, etc., etc., right? It really depends what you want to write. You can name this too. So sometimes I'll name it something so that I can remember it later when I see it on the campaign, my list of campaigns. I'll do Christmas promotion, okay? You can even write scheduled on 12/25 to 12/26, or you could write something, whatever helps you remember it. The customer doesn't see this. This is only for internal use. And then that is pretty much it. You click next step, and you can choose your theme or outline of your email campaign here. So if you click one of these, you could click preview. You'll find one that you like. This is all your own preference, okay? All your own preference. So maybe I don't like that one, maybe I choose this one, right? And there you go, right? So let's say I like this one, and I click select. Then you will go through this and edit it just like all of the other videos I've taught you how to edit. It's the same way. The most important part is that you include a discount somewhere in your email campaign. Use big, bold letters. Make sure to create the discount code first on your Shopify discount code section, which is right here. Create discount code, which is this button right here, and then click create discount. Then you're going to want to copy whatever your discount code is and then paste it into somewhere in your email campaign. And then you can even send yourself a preview so you can see what the email looks like. Or you can send yourself a test email where Omnisend will actually send the email to whatever email address you specify so that you can see the subject line in your email service just like a customer would see their email. So for example, if you use Gmail, you can tell Omnisend to send you a test email, and then you're going to go in and log into your email account on Gmail, and you can see the subject line as if you were the customer, right? And that's it. You're going to click save. It may not allow me to save because, oh, it did, okay. And then you're going to click next. And here you're going to select the target audience for which you want to send your email campaign to. You can send to all of the subscribers on your email contact list, so every single email that you own. Or you can say, let me choose the subscribers. If you choose this second option, you will have the option of choosing a segment that you have previously created. So in a previous video, I created a segment of customers who have placed at least one order. And this is the name I provided that segment. You want to be accurate when you name your segments, because when you get to this point of your email campaign, you want to be able to select whatever segment that you want to send your email campaign to. And you may have multiple segments here, over 10, 20, 30. So that is the whole point of having email segments, so that later when you create an email campaign, which we're doing right now, we can send that email campaign to a specific segment and then click next step. So if you remember earlier, during one of the first steps of creating this email campaign, you're supposed to input a sender email address. The sender email address is the address that the customer will see when they receive the email. I told you that you have to own the email address that you input into the sender email address section. The reason for that is because is two parts. One, Omnisend is going to verify right here that you own that email. And number two, the reason Omnisend wants to verify that it's your email is because Omnisend does not want to send out hundreds or thousands of emails on the behalf of a sender email address that you don't own, right? Or else it's just going to be sending emails to random people on the behalf of a made up email address. So you cannot make up a sender email address. You have to use an email address you own, and you're going to have to verify it either here or somewhere in the settings section of Omnisend. So I'm going to click verify, and boom, there you go. You'll notice though that if I go to campaigns, you'll see my email campaign here. The reason it's not live and it's still in draft form is because right here there's an error. It says it looks like the selected segments do not contain any subscribers. So when I chose my targeting segment, obviously I don't actually have any email contacts, so it has no contacts for Omnisend to send this email to, if that makes sense. So because I have no emails in my email contact list, this is still going to be in a draft version. When I start collecting emails, I can activate this email campaign and have it sent out. So there you have it. That is how you set up an email campaign. I hope that was useful. Really take advantage of this option, and in the future when you're really successful, you can dedicate a whole department of your team to work on email marketing. You want to basically always have email marketing going on, just like you want to have Facebook advertisements or social media marketing. It's something that is continuous and ongoing. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. In this video, I want to talk about email campaign A/B split testing. In general, A/B split testing is a way to test two different ways of marketing, and depending on which one provides better return or has better success, in the future you can use that targeting for future emails or future marketing. So the more you A/B split test, the more you can refine how you target an audience. When it comes to email campaigns and A/B split testing, it means that you're going to send out two email campaigns that are going to be exactly alike except for one parameter. For example, subject line. So everything else in those email campaigns will be exactly the same. So the content of the email will be the same, the sender name will be the same, the discount code will be the same. The only thing different may be the subject line. And then you'll run both of those campaigns congruently at the same time. And whichever campaign does better, you will know that that subject line is a better subject line because it did better. So in the future, when you run an actual email campaign, you can use that subject line hoping that it will perform better than if you had used the other subject line. So that is a form of email campaign A/B split testing. You don't need to just split test once. You want to split test over and over and over again because you want to always be refining how well you can target your audience, how well you can market, how well you can do an email campaign. So in Omnisend, it does have the capability of running an A/B split test for an email campaign, which I'll show you how to do. Where it's a little bit limited is that you can only A/B split test two parameters, the testing subject line and the testing sender's name and sender's email address. And generally, depending on what you're split testing, you want to be able to you want to be able to decide which one is better based off a particular metric. When it comes to email campaigns, I think open rates is the metric that you should judge success by. Okay, so during the process of doing the A/B split testing, make sure to choose open rates as your metric to judge success for the better email campaign. So let's take a quick look. So you're going to go to campaigns, which is at the top left, which will bring you to this page. Then you're going to click new campaign. Then you are going to click email A/B testing. Usually you would click this, the left side, if you're going to create an email campaign. But here you're going to create an email campaign with A/B testing integrated into it. So it's still an email campaign, all right? So don't take it lightly. You got to go through all the steps that you would in an email campaign, but you're going to do one extra step, and I'll show you what that extra step is. So I'm going to click create this test. So as I mentioned, you can do a split test for two different subject lines, or you can do a split test for the sender's name. So if I click, I usually like to do split testing. If I'm going to use this tool, I'm going to do a split test for the subject line, right? So you'll notice that there's an A and a B. Those are the two different subject lines that you want to test against each other. Everything else will look exactly the same as when you're creating any other email campaign. If you scroll to the top here where my mouse is, you'll notice that all of the other steps are there, right? Just like any other email campaign. So this is a real email campaign, but you're going to integrate this A/B split testing into it so that you can learn while you're doing an email campaign, right? You can learn about what subject line may be better. So for example, let's assume I'm doing a Christmas promotion, right? And I can do, maybe in this first subject line, I'll do some lightning bolts, right? I like to do emojis in my subject lines because I feel like it stands out more. And if you don't know how to use emojis, just Google how to use emojis with MacBook or how to use emojis with Windows, depending on what computer you're using. Then I could say 30% off Christmas promotion. And then I'll write whatever my store name is, all right? And then I might add in some more lightning bolts, if you will, right here, right? So maybe that's my first subject line. Then I want to test this subject line against a different subject line. Maybe in this subject line, I type, Santa Claus, right? Because it's a Christmas holiday. So I put there. This one I might write, 30% discount ending next 24 hours. Christmas holiday promotion. Maybe I'll write that. And that's it. So these are, because this is a real campaign, half of the target audience you send this to will see the subject line A, and then the other half of the target audience you send this to will see subject line B. And at the end of that campaign, whenever it's finished, you can see the results of which subject line A or B did better. And then you want to take note of that in your personal notes so that in the future when you write a subject line, you can adapt that subject line to whichever one performed better as an email campaign. But as far as filling everything else out, you want to make sure you fill it out just like any other email campaign, because this is technically an email campaign, right? There's no difference from any other email campaign. The only difference is this small split testing that you're doing here. So please be careful. You want to take it very seriously, just as if you're sending out a real email campaign, because it is a real email campaign. All right, guys, I hope that's useful. Definitely try out this A/B split testing, especially when you're first starting and you don't know what to write in a subject line, or you're testing out different subject lines. I guarantee it will help you. Hey guys, I wanted to quickly point out that in the Shopify app section of this course, I'm going to review apps that I use and I highly recommend. One of the apps I recommend is called the Wheelio app. I know you probably haven't got to that section yet, but I just wanted to quickly point out that the Wheelio app is an app that is solely dedicated to being a pop-up form for collecting emails. The reason I recommend it is because it's really good at what it does. It's very versatile and it's very complex. However, I also want to point out that on Omnisend, if you go to the form section and you click Create Form, Omnisend has its own free pop-up forms. You have a pop-up form here, which I reviewed, and you also have a Wheel of Fortune pop-up form. This Wheel of Fortune pop-up form is very similar to this Wheelio app pop-up form. The only difference is this one is maybe not as versatile or as good as the Wheelio app, but this one is free because it comes with the Omnisend app already. You can use these apps if you want, or you can use the Wheelio app. It's up to you. The Wheelio app is technically a little bit better, but it does come at a monthly expense. So that's why I say it's up to you. It's not mandatory. But if you do choose to use the Wheelio app as opposed to using one of these pop-up forms to collect emails, I did want to provide you this warning. If you use the Wheelio app as your pop-up form to collect emails, you will have to connect Wheelio and Omnisend so that emails collected by Wheelio will transfer over to Omnisend so that Omnisend can use those emails in the future for email campaigns or automated workflows. I hope you understand that, right? Because if you're using the Wheelio app, which is really good at collecting emails, how do you create an email campaign to target those emails? You can't, because you're using Omnisend as your email marketing app. So you need to import all of the emails that are collected by Wheelio into your Omnisend app. You have to connect the two apps. You have to integrate them so that this transfer of emails is automatic every time someone provides their email to Wheelio. And to integrate the two, I've provided instructions here. Integration should take less than 5 minutes. Detailed instructions on how to integrate Wheelio with Omnisend are in the attached resources for this lecture, okay? And here are the summary of the steps. I would probably try to go to the link that I provided you because it has more details. But if you want to just quickly look at some of the steps, I provided them for you right here. It shouldn't take you very long, but this step is extremely important, right? Because if you're using the Wheelio app and you don't integrate it with Omnisend, all the emails that are collected by Wheelio are just going to sit there on your Shopify dashboard. You won't be able to use Omnisend to create email campaigns that target those emails until you integrate the two apps. So with that said, here are the instructions on how to integrate. Please click the link in the resources section of this lecture. It should take you only less than 5 minutes. If you have any questions, let me know, but it should be pretty straightforward. More to come in the Shopify app section on what Wheelio does and why it's really good. The last thing I wanted to point out is that if you're using the Wheelio app to collect emails, new subscriber emails collected by Wheelio that transfer to Omnisend will trigger all applicable automated workflow emails on Omnisend except the new subscriber automated workflow email. All right. So if you created an automated workflow email for new subscribers and an email is sent from Wheelio to Omnisend, that email will trigger all of the other workflows except the new subscriber email workflow. However, this is completely fine because Wheelio itself will have already provided some form of incentivization or discount code to the customer in exchange for their email when they sign up using the Wheelio app. So therefore, there's no need to send them a new subscriber automated workflow email with another discount code. So if you're going to use Wheelio with Omnisend, in short, just don't set up a new subscriber automated workflow email. There's no need for it. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Facebook advertising section of this course. Really excited to start this section because chances are if you're at this section, that means you've already set up your Shopify. You've set up all of your products, you've imported them, and you've set up all the other apps and automations that you might have in your settings. And now it's time to spend a little bit of money on ads and hopefully drive traffic to your store and get people to convert and buy your products so that you can start generating revenue. So just a quick word on Facebook advertising. The Facebook advertising platform is one of the most powerful advertising platforms in the world, if not the biggest platform in the world and most used platform for advertising. It's extremely complicated, but I'm going to try to dumb it down for you as much as possible so that you don't get overwhelmed. We're not going to go through every single setting that Facebook advertising has because there's millions of settings in there, right? We're just going to go through the settings that will allow us to advertise our products for the purposes of Shopify. I also want to add that Facebook has this, Facebook is almost always trying to innovate, and as they innovate, they always change settings and functions and different physical looks of their platform. So if your Facebook advertising dashboard doesn't look exactly like mine, and I'll dive into mine in just a second, please don't be alarmed. I've updated these videos for at least, I don't know, this is probably like the 7th time in the last couple of years because Facebook, really changes their platform on a week by week basis. So I apologize in advance if yours looks a little bit different. If it does, then simply take the concepts that I'm learning and apply it to whatever your dashboard looks like. But your dashboard should at least look fairly similar to what I'm showing you. So before we can do Facebook advertising, there are a few things we need to set up. And I want to go over those things right now. I created a nice checklist for us to go through, okay? And you need pretty much everything on this checklist for you to start doing Facebook advertising. Some of the things are optional, but are recommended. So the first thing, and this list is also in chronological order, so make sure to go from the top down, all right? Don't just skip around, go from the very top down. The first thing you're gonna need is a Facebook account. Chances are you already have a Facebook account, meaning your personal account, okay? Because Facebook, for obvious reasons, does not allow you to advertise on their platform and website if you don't even use Facebook. So make sure to have a Facebook account. Chances are you already have it. If you don't have it, set it up as soon as possible because Facebook actually doesn't allow you to set up some of these other things on this checklist unless you've had a Facebook account for some time. And I don't know exactly how long that time is. I'm not sure if it's like 5 hours or 5 days or 5 weeks. So, my recommendation is set up an account as soon as possible and then try to set up some of these other things. And if you can't, just wait some time, allow some time to pass, and then you should be able to set it up. The next one is a Instagram page. This is optional, but it is recommended. This is going to be really dependent upon what you're selling. So I don't know if you guys have ever been on Instagram and on your newsfeed, you sometimes see ads, right? And if you click those ads, it can either bring you back to the actual Instagram page or it will just bring you straight to the website. Usually if it brings you straight to the website, that means that business does not have its own Instagram account for its business. But it just really depends on what you're selling. For example, if you're selling graphic t-shirts, that's kind of cool. People might be interested in going to your Instagram page and following your page. But if you sell something kind of random, like, I don't know, pots so that people can put their plants in, it may not be worth having an Instagram page, because even if you posted a bunch of pictures of pots, people are not going to follow your Instagram page. So Instagram is more for credibility, social proof, and building your brand. If you have something like a t-shirt website would be maybe maybe that's your brand and you want to kind of elevate that brand, then you could have an Instagram page. But for, just really depends on what you're trying to sell. A domain name. I've already talked about the importance of having a domain name. If you're intending on creating a professional business domain name, please set it up now, because you will link that domain name to your Facebook ad kind of dashboard. And you can buy a domain name at GoDaddy.com. That's where I buy it. But there's also other websites you can buy it at as well. And I created a video on how to connect a domain name to your Shopify store. So it's actually very easy. The fourth one is your Facebook Business Manager. Chances are, if you have never advertised on Facebook, then you would not know what this is. But if you have ever had a business where you had to do Facebook advertising, I guarantee you already know a Facebook Business Manager. Anyone that does Facebook advertising has a Facebook Business Manager account. The Business Manager account is basically this very, very complex dashboard and platform where you can manage all of your Facebook pages and all of your Facebook ads, even if you have multiple businesses. It's basically all organized on the Business Manager. It's very, very complex. And when you first go to it, and I'll show you mine in just a second, it can be a little bit overwhelming, but I do guarantee you, the more you use it, the more comfortable you'll be with it. So I know it might be a little bit overwhelming at first, but do understand that you will get comfortable with it the more you use it. So if you do not have a Business Manager account, which you probably won't if you've never done Facebook advertising, what you're going to do is you're going to go to business.facebook.com. Again, that's business.facebook.com. And it should look something like this. Then you're going to go to the top right, click Create Account, and it's going to ask you to log into your personal Facebook account. And that's why you need a personal Facebook account before you can set up your Facebook Business Manager, right? And once you've done that and you enter it, it should look something like this, right? And you can toggle between your business side, and you can give a name to your Business Manager, right? I called mine General Biz Manager. This is not my real Business Manager account. This is just one I'm using to create these lecture videos. So it's kind of like a fake account. But you'll have your business account on this side and then your personal account over here, because, some people do run ads for just their personal, Facebook accounts. Maybe you're an influencer or something, but for the most part, you want to stay on this side, the business account side. And in it, it'll look something like this. It'll show, up here at the top, you can go through different Facebook pages and it'll show you different posts and updates from Facebook pages. And then there's a bunch of other stuff here. I'll show you the activity on your Facebook pages, your inbox, your stories and posts. You'll have a calendar. You'll have a section for your ads. You'll have more tools in here, right? Sometimes you'll have to go in here. For example, we'll be going to Ads Manager a lot. That's where we're going to be managing all of our ads, and then some of these other things. And then also settings, we'll be going here a lot too. So just take your time, explore it a little bit. But again, as you use it more, it'll all become secondhand nature, okay? So once you set up your Business Manager, you're going to then create a Facebook page. The reason I wanted this step to be after the Facebook Business Manager is because I want you to create your Facebook page through your Business Manager so that they're automatically linked. So how do you do that? You're going to go over here, you're going to go to Settings, click Settings, then you're going to go over to Business Assets, and then these are all considered business assets. So pages, ad accounts, Instagram accounts, apps, pixels, catalogs. You're gonna, if you go to pages, it'll show you all the different pages. I already created a page for my, fake Shopify store, which sells iPhone cases. I called it Princeton iPhone cases. Obviously, that's not a very good name, but I just wanted to create something real quick to show you guys. But for you, if you need to create a Facebook page, if you don't already have one for your business, you're gonna click Add Assets, and then you're gonna click Facebook page. And then it's gonna probably make you go through some simple steps, such as adding a profile picture for your Facebook page and adding a title and a name and things like that. Just for reference, my Facebook page that I created, this took me about 2 seconds. It's not fully finished, but it has a picture, it has a profile picture, it has a name. It's a pretty bad name, but make sure to spend a little bit of time. Your name should obviously likely be similar to the name you have for your website or your domain name, right? And I'm not going to spend time trying to walk you through every step of what a Facebook page is. I assume, after using Facebook, you're probably already familiar with what a Facebook page is, but please do fill it out as much as possible. Like I said, when you run ads, people that see your ads will be able to click certain parts of that ads and it will bring them back to your Facebook page. So you want your Facebook page to look professional, ideally have some posts, ideally have some followers. Not to say that you need followers to your Facebook page to start running ads, but ideally you would have followers on your Facebook page. Make sure all the info is correct in there, right? Go through all these different links, go through all these settings, make sure they're all set up. You should at least have your website domain name in your Facebook page. You should have a support line or support email in there. Connect your Instagram page if you have one. Just make sure it's completely filled out, right? That's going to build credibility and trust among your customers if they happen to click your ad and it brings them back to the Facebook page. Facebook ad account. This is something that you'll create within your business manager dashboard. Think of that word ad account as essentially your billing account, right? So when you run ads for your business, you need to bill it somewhere, right? And an ad account is like a billing account where your credit card is, your business credit card or your business debit card. You're going to add your credit card, debit card to your ad account. And whenever you run an ad for your business, it's going to charge this ad account. So let's say you had two businesses. Chances are you would probably have two ad accounts, right? Because in general, just, thinking smart here, if you have two businesses, you should have two business checking accounts and you should have two business credit cards or debit cards, right? You have two businesses under the same banking account. That's just bad practice. So if you had two businesses, you would probably have two Facebook ad accounts. I always say that example just in case people get confused, because you can have multiple ad accounts, multiple businesses under your business manager, because business manager is meant to run ads for all of your businesses if you have multiple businesses. Or for example, let's say you had a Facebook advertising agency and you had multiple clients and they all had businesses and you're running ads for all of your clients, then of course your Facebook business manager would have lots of ad accounts and lots of different businesses under that business manager as well. And then last but not least, a Facebook pixel. Chances are you've already heard about what a pixel is, but for those of you who have not, a Facebook pixel, kind of hard to understand, but it's essentially the small snippet or piece of code that you add to the back end of your website. And whenever you run ads and you get traffic to your website, that Facebook pixel is going to collect data from all your visitors. For example, demographic information about your visitors, their device preferences, their habits, their behaviors, all the different actions that customer might take on your website. For example, a customer comes, they look at a certain product, it'll capture that. It'll look at which products they add to a shopping cart. It'll look at that. It'll find out which products are selling the most, all those things. And it'll use that information to optimize your future ads so that it can target your ads to customers that are more likely to purchase, for example. So Facebook pixel is very, very important. And anyone that runs Facebook advertising to a particular website, I guarantee you already has a Facebook pixel installed on their website. And I'm going to show you how to install it on the next video. Okay. But, and generally, if you have more than one business, then you would need a Facebook pixel for each one of your businesses, just like an ad account. That's just kind of like a rule of thumb. Not always the case, but generally the case. And to create a Facebook, I forgot how I'm going to teach you how to create an ad account and a pixel. I forgot to show you how to create an ad account. So to create both of those, you're just going to go under. So technically an ad account, a page, and a pixel are all considered business assets. So you're going to go to settings here. You're going to click business assets. You'll notice that ad accounts is right here. I have one kind of fake ad account ready, but you would click add assets, go to advertising, and then click add account. And then you can name that ad account something similar to your business, so that you can remember that ad account is to that business. Same thing with pixels. You notice that pixels is right here. So technically pixel is also another type of business asset. And if you want to create a new pixel, which, if you've never done, you would probably have to do for your Shopify store, click add assets, go to advertising, and then click add pixel right here. And you could create it. Name that pixel something that refers to your website or to your business, because whenever you run ads, you're going to have to choose that pixel. And that's because, again, some people have more than one business and more than one pixel. So chances are you'll probably only have one pixel, but you might have more than one. So make sure you name that pixel something that's recognizable. And then last but not least, money. This is just having money, and spending money is just a part of running a business. I would say that out of all businesses that you can start, dropshipping business is one of the cheapest, one of the businesses that require the least amount of capital and upfront investment, which is a good thing, but it still does require you to spend some money. So, it's just naive to think that you can run a business without spending a dollar, right? But my recommendation is ideally you have several $100s. This is because when you first start running ads, because there's a learning curve to it, you may mess up here and there. You may, spend some dollars you didn't need to spend. You may do certain things incorrectly. So you want to have some money so that you can experiment. And at the very beginning, you're going to be doing a lot of A/B testing with your ads to see what type of ads work better and which ones work worse. And that's going to cost you money as well. So ideally you have several $100s, if not several $1,000s, all right? And that is pretty much it for the setup. Once you've done all of those things, in the next video, I'll show you how to hopefully set up a Facebook pixel and integrate that into your online Shopify website. And then after that, we can start running Facebook advertisements. All right, guys, see you on the next video. Hey guys, I just wanted to shoot this quick video to let you know that Facebook is always innovating. And as such, they are constantly updating the functions, the settings, and the overall look of its Facebook advertising platform, the Facebook Business Manager, the Ads Manager, all those things. So, I want to kind of give you this warning that because they change so often, it's kind of difficult for us to keep up with all those changes. We try our best to update our videos as fast as possible, but Facebook is literally updating their platform on a monthly basis. So I wanted to let you know that it is possible that when you get to this video, your Facebook advertising platform may look slightly different from the Facebook advertising platform you see in my videos, but hopefully your platform and the platform I shot the videos on is similar enough where you can still easily apply the concepts that I teach you. So, just wanted to let you guys know that in advance and kind of give you that warning and kind of apologize. But our team really does try to update these videos as fast as possible. We've probably updated this Facebook advertising section of my course at least 6 times over the last 2 years. So, just bear with us. We try our best, and hopefully you can still really make use and get value from this section of the course. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video. And I do want to point out, if your Facebook advertising platform or whatever I teach you in these videos ever gets to the point where it does not make sense at all because it's so different from what you see, please shoot me a message and I will try to expedite and speed up the process of updating these videos, okay? All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about how to install the Facebook pixel to our Shopify website. Normally, if you had any other type of website, a non-Shopify website, you would have to actually go in, add some snippet of code to the back end of your website, and it could be really complicated if you didn't have any web design experience. But because we're using Shopify, and Shopify is such a well-known organization, well-known platform, Shopify has worked with Facebook to create ways to seamlessly connect the two so that anyone, even someone without any web design experience, can do it really easily. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to actually use a Shopify app called Facebook Channel. As an FYI, this app was created by Shopify with Facebook, and the app is free. And I also want to make something really clear. While you can use the Facebook Channel app to create and run and manage ads, Facebook ads, we're not going to be using the app for that. We're only using the app to connect our Shopify store to our Facebook advertising platform and Facebook pixel. Most of the ads that we'll be running, most of the Facebook ads that we'll be running will be created and managed on the Facebook Business Manager side because it has more detailed functionality. We're only using the app to connect the two platforms. We're not actually running ads through Facebook Channel. However, if you find out that there's certain functions about Facebook Channel app that you really like for running ads and doing marketing, feel free to use it. But I just wanted to point out that I just wanted to clarify that small detail. So all you're going to do is you're going to go to the Shopify App Store, look up an app called Facebook Channel. And if you want, you could watch this video, which might tell you a little bit about the app. And then you're just going to click Add App, and then click Install, and it should automatically install to your Shopify store. What this will do is, after you go, or actually give me 1 second. So once you install the app to your Shopify, if I go to apps now, I'll see it in there, right? Facebook. And if I click Facebook, it'll bring me here. Sorry, my internet's kind of slow. And there's kind of 4 sections, right? There is the Facebook shop, Facebook marketing, sell your products on Instagram, and connect with customers on Messenger. And depending on, you're going to want to go through the Facebook marketing section. And because I've already done it, I can't really show you how to do it, but I've taken some screenshots to show you. So once you click on set up Facebook marketing, it'll look something like this, right? And you'll go through this kind of checklist, which will integrate your Shopify store to all the different parts of your Facebook business manager. It'll connect to your Facebook page, it'll connect to your Facebook ad account, it'll connect to your Facebook, it'll connect your domain name, and most importantly, it'll automatically also connect your Facebook pixel. So it's kind of like an all one-stop shop. It connects everything about Shopify to everything about Facebook advertising and all the different assets you have on Business Manager, so that you don't have to work with any HTML coding or anything on the back end. It's just kind of an easy way to do it. And once you set up all of these different things, then you will be ready to run Facebook advertising. So let's kind of walk through it. So the first thing you need is your Facebook account. So what you're going to do is you're just going to click connect account, log into your Facebook, and then that's all you have to do for that step, right? The next step is your Facebook Business Manager. Let me zoom in on this. Sorry. The next one is your Facebook Business Manager. You should have already have one. Should have already created one. All you're gonna do is then click connect, and it will connect automatically to your Facebook Business Manager. It should take only a split second. The next step is domain verification, right? So this is my kind of fake Shopify store name. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully if you have a professional business domain name, or you want to have a professional business domain name, please set that up first before you do this step, right? All you're gonna do is select your domain name here, and then click confirm. It should only take a split second. And then this is where you select your ad account, right? Chances are you only have one ad account, but maybe you have more than one ad account. If you have more than one ad account, then please select the one for this specific Shopify store and business. After you click connect, this will pop up. It says accept Facebook's terms and conditions. You would click view and accept terms, and then you would click done, all right? That would finish all the steps for your ad account. Then the next one is connect your Facebook page, right? I created a Princeton iPhone case Facebook page to teach you guys this. I would click connect, and it would automatically connect my Facebook page. And then after that, it gets to the data sharing section. The data sharing section is essentially the Facebook pixel section, right? Because the point of a Facebook pixel is it collects data from customers who visit your website. So essentially you're kind of taking their data. So you have to set up your data sharing settings. So you can read all 3 of these. I would choose the maximum, but please understand that depending on which one you choose, you're going to be collecting either more data or less data on your customers. And nowadays there are a lot of laws and compliance behind collecting data on customers. So if you do use the maximum one, make sure that your policies or your privacy policy reflects your all the settings that you choose for maximum. If you want, you could also use the enhanced one, which is the default one that's chosen. And then you would and then right here, I already did it, but you should be able to select your pixel and then click connect. I already did it, so I created a pixel and I named it Shopify Store, and I already connected it, so that's why it says disconnect. But for you, it should say the word connect or done or something like that. Just select your pixel and click connect. Then after that, this is their Facebook targeting country. It says select a target location to focus on so that Shopify can maximize your budget when you create audience building ads. Facebook can only fetch your existing page fans. If you're just select whatever country that you plan to do most of your advertising in. I selected the United States because I advertise to US customers. And then that's it for that step. And then the last step is just terms and conditions. I believe you have to open each one of these and read them. Or at least open it, and then after that you should be able to click accept. And then after that, click finish setup. So hopefully that made sense. I apologize for the screenshots. It's because I've already done all these things in preparation for this lecture video. So, but hopefully that made sense. This is why I wanted you to have all of these things already, so that when you get to the point of connecting your Shopify store to your Facebook advertising platform, including the Facebook pixel, it will be really easy. If you've already had all these things done ahead of time, this video should only take you about, I don't know, like 3 or 4 minutes, okay? And the Facebook pixel is this data sharing section, if that wasn't clear, right? So that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys on the next video. Hey guys, before we can create our very first Facebook ad, there's 3 terms and levels of creating a Facebook ad that we need to understand: campaigns, ad sets, and ads. And just to give you an example of what I mean, when you go to create your very first Facebook ad, which is going to be in your Facebook Business Manager, okay? We're not creating Facebook ads in Shopify. We're not creating Facebook ads in a Facebook channel app. We're creating Facebook ads in our Facebook Business Manager. More specifically, we're going to be going down here to I'm currently in my Facebook Business Manager right here. More specifically, you're going to have to click More Tools. You're going to go to Ads Manager. Ads Manager is the sub-tab of where you're specifically going to create your Facebook ads, where you're going to edit them, where you're going to manage them. You're going to see the performance and things like that. And you'll see that if I were to create a Facebook ad, meaning, maybe I'd click this button here, you're going to see that there's 3 different sections of Facebook ad that you need to complete to execute that ad, right? A campaign, ad sets, and ads. So I want to just take a brief moment to explain which all 3 of these means, because it can be a bit confusing if it's your first time creating a Facebook ad. So campaign, think of campaign as the overall objective of your ad. What do you, ultimately want to do with the ads that you are running? The next one is ad set. Ad set is simply the targeting for your ad. What kind of audience do you want? What kind of Facebook audience do you want to see your ad? Where do you want to target your ad to? And also the budget for your ad. For example, you want to put $5 per day for your Facebook ad, or maybe $10 per day, or maybe you want $100 over 5 days. And then last but not least is the ad section, meaning ad implies the actual physical look of your ad. What kind of imagery are you going to use for your ad? Are you going to use an image? Are you going to use a video? What kind of words will the customer see? What will the Facebook users see when they see your ad? What's the title of your ad? What kind of verbiage will your ad say? For example, maybe the ad says, use this coupon code now to get 30% off your next purchase from our website, for example. So let me give you a couple. And also I want to point out that you can have multiple ad sets per campaign, and you can have multiple ads per an ad set, okay? And let me give you a nice example of when this may occur. And you could also have multiple campaigns for one business. So let me give you an example. Let's say hypothetically, I'm running for president and I have 2 main immediate objectives. Again, campaigns are your objectives, right? So my 2 objectives, or my 2 campaigns, is number 1, I want to get people to vote for me, or just vote in general, right? And my second objective and campaign is to get people to attend my in-person speech or rally in Los Angeles, California. All right, so obviously these are two very different objectives. One is to attend a physical in-person kind of conference or rally that I'm hosting and giving a speech at in a specific physical location, which is Los Angeles. And the other one is to get people to vote, which is, to get them to do a particular action. So right there you can see I'm one business, or I'm one person. I'm trying to run for president, and I have 2 objectives. So therefore I would have 2 campaigns. Under each campaign, you can have multiple ad sets. So for example, these 2 first bullet points apply to the first objective, which is to get people to vote. One ad set I might have is to target my ads to those that are 18 to 22-year-olds, because those are the the population that are in college, and it may be for whatever reason I want to target students in college to get them to vote for me, right? And then I might have a whole ad set around targeting those that are 23 all the way through 35. in particular states, because there are certain states that are more likely to vote for me. So I want to run ads in those states for the older audience, right? So that might be my 2 ad sets for this first campaign or objective. My second campaign or objective is get people to attend my in-person speech in Los Angeles, California. So I might have an ad set that targets those who live in Los Angeles, right? Because they're so close to uh, my in-person rally. I might have ads that target them so that they can easily come and attend my rally. And the second one might be to target those who live in California as a whole. Whether they live in Northern or Southern California, maybe I want to get all of them to attend because they're going to be people that are more likely to vote for me because they're in California. Maybe I'm running as a Democratic president, and there's a lot of Democrats in California. So just hypothetically, right? And then lastly, I might have multiple ads for each one of these ad sets, meaning, 8, 9, 10 different types of ads, because I might use a different picture or video for every single ad. I might write a little bit different verbiage for each ad to see which ad is the highest performing, which one is the most eye-catching. This is what we call A/B split testing, using different pictures or videos for the same ad, right? Tweaking just one element of each ad and running it in 2 different ways to see which one outperforms the other. And that will tell you in the future that you should do that again and not do the one that performed badly again. All right, so this is kind of a rough example of why you would have different campaigns, different ad sets, and different ads, even if you're just one business, because at any given time you might have different objectives and different targeting, different budgets, and then different imagery or verbiage you want to use for your ads. So hopefully that made sense. As long as you understand these 3 terms, it's going to make it a little bit easier to then formulate and execute your Facebook ads. Hopefully that made sense. I'll see you on the next video. Hey guys, in this video, I want to talk about different audiences, meaning the different targeting for your Facebook ads. This is something that's really important to know before you create your very first Facebook audience. And to get there, you're going to go to your business manager, which looks like this. You're going to go to more tools, and then you're going to go to audiences. All right. And here you can see all the different audiences that you created and saved so that you can use those audiences again in the future for another ad. And you can create an audience by clicking this button, or if you're in your ads manager and you're creating a Facebook ad, in the ad set section, you can create an audience right there as well, meaning the targeting for your Facebook ad. So you can create an audience in either section. And when you click this, there's 4 different types of audiences, right? There's custom, lookalike, special ad, and saved audience. And I want to talk about the different audiences now so that when you get to the section where you start creating your Facebook ad, you'll understand the differences between those audiences. So the four audiences, I've listed them here, and I want to define them now. So the first audience is a saved audience, and that one's going to be a little bit more intuitive, right? A saved audience is kind of what it sounds like, and it's essentially a Facebook ad that you created the targeting yourself. For example, maybe you want to target males and females that are 15 through 25 years old that live in New York and are interested in sports. Maybe you're creating a Facebook ad and you enter all of that in as your targeting, and then you save that audience so that you can use that same targeting for a future ad. So that's what a saved audience is. You create the targeting. The next one is a custom audience, which is not going to be as intuitive, but equally important. I would say the 2 audiences that you will use the most is going to be saved audience. Definitely at the beginning, this is going to be like 90% of your efforts. And then later on, when you get more purchases and visitors to your website, then you might start doing custom audiences, all right? And then really, really far down the road, you might use a lookalike audience, but that's after you've made, tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So most of your time is going to be spent in these 2 audiences here. So going on to custom audience. A custom audience is an audience that is created using information that your Facebook pixel has captured from visitors to your Shopify website. Remember, after we have connected a Facebook pixel to our Shopify website using the Facebook channel app. That's why we use that app to begin with, right? So now that we have a Facebook pixel on our website, anytime someone comes to our website, visits our website and does any kind of action, they look at a particular product, they add a product to their shopping cart, or they purchase a product and other types of actions, the Facebook pixel is going to capture that information. And then you can actually create a custom audience based off that information that your Facebook pixel has captured. For example, you can technically create a custom audience of everyone who has ever visited your website. Maybe you want to create that audience because you believe that those who have visited your website before are more likely to purchase products. So you want to run ads targeted at only those who have visited your website. Then you would create a custom audience for that, because there's no way of creating a saved audience for that, right? You have to create a custom audience and use information that is captured by your pixel. But if you save that custom audience for future use, maybe you want to use it again and again in different Facebook ads, then it would be considered a saved custom audience, right? And third is a lookalike audience. Again, you will probably never use this type until you are extremely successful and you've sold, hundreds of products, right? A lookalike audience is an audience that looks like a custom audience. For example, let's say you've had thousands and thousands of people who have visited your website, and there's a certain type of demographic that tends to visit your website. Maybe you sell sporting gear, and you tend to get, males that are 15 to 25 who are still in college, who are interested in sports. Maybe that's the general demographics that visits your website. Well, when you create a lookalike audience, it's going to look at all the information of all the visitors from your website, and it's going to create an audience that is similar in demographics to that audience, but does not overlap with that audience, right? That is what a lookalike audience is. And when you're really, really successful, you may use a lookalike audience because you have saturated all the different people from a custom audience. And then last but not least is the special ad audience. This is similar to a lookalike audience, except for special ad categories like housing, credit, and job opportunities. This will very, very likely not be something that you use, because unless you have a reason for targeting audiences based on their housing situation or their credit scores or their job opportunities, you wouldn't really use this. That's why I grayed it out. So again, the three audiences that you will use the most are the three here: saved audience, custom audience, and lookalike audience. But when you first start off, you're probably 90% of your efforts will be on saved audiences. That means you're gonna have to get really creative with your targeting. You have to be hyper focused. You gotta think really hard about who you want to target your ads to. Is it gonna be males, females, or both? Is it gonna be a certain age range? Is it gonna be a certain location? What is the likely behavior or interests of those that are most likely to purchase from your website, right? And then slowly you might convert over to custom audience after you've gotten a lot of visitors to your website and a lot of people have already purchased products from your website. Because if you were to use a custom audience at the very beginning, it wouldn't do anything, because you don't have any, your Facebook pixel has not captured any visitors to your website. You have so little information that has been captured by your Facebook pixel that if you create a custom audience, one, it may not even be able to create one because you have no information to base that audience off of. And number two, even if you did have some visitors and some people who have purchased, if you don't have a high number, that custom audience is going to be very tiny. If you've only had 100 people visit your website, then you create a custom audience, your custom audience is only going to have 100 people that your Facebook ad can be targeted to. All right. So I hope that was helpful. This is going to make it a lot easier when you go to create your Facebook ad. In the ad set section of your Facebook ad creation, that's where you're going to do the targeting. That's where you're going to create your audience. Audience and targeting are synonymous, okay? All right, see you guys on the next video. Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a basic ad in Facebook. And I'm going to let you know in advance that it can be overwhelming. So I'm not going to try to go into detail with every single setting, because there are lots and lots of different settings and ways you can target your ads. I'm just gonna go through the basic ones as to not overwhelm you, okay? So first thing you're gonna do is from your Facebook Business Manager, or I guess now it's called the Facebook Business Suite, you're gonna go down to more tools and you're gonna click Ads Manager. The Ads Manager is where you're gonna create and manage your ads, right? You're gonna look at their performance, you're gonna scale their budgets, all those things. And the first thing you want to do is check if you're on the right ad account here at the top left. Chances are you're running ads for the first time and you only have one ad account, so you don't have to really worry about checking it. But if you happen to have multiple ad accounts, maybe you have multiple businesses, then make sure you're on the correct ad account. So you're billing the right bank account or billing the right credit card. Next, you'll see that we have the campaign section, the ad set section, and the ad section. We have to do it in chronological order, right? You have to start with the campaign, which is the objective, then the ad set, which is the targeting and the budget for your ad, and then the ad section, which is how your ad physically looks like to other users. You know, what is the ad copy or verbiage, and what image or video you're using for your ad. So we're gonna click create here. And the first thing you're going to do for the campaign level is choose the objective for your campaign. Remember that campaign is kind of synonymous to objective. So as you can see here, there's lots of different objectives, and because people run ads for lots of different things, right? So if you don't know what the objective means, you could always hover your mouse over this little information icon and it will tell you. I would say up front that most of my ads, I would say 80 to 90% of my ads are focused on conversions. And there are a lot of different type of conversions, and the conversions will be dependent upon what your events are, meaning what events will fire your Facebook pixel, or stated in another way is what your Facebook pixel is trying to keep track of. When we connected our Facebook to our Shopify store, it automatically installed the Facebook pixel on our Shopify website, and it automatically chose certain events that Facebook pixel is trying to capture information on. For example, every time someone visits your website, every time someone puts a product in a shopping cart, every time someone puts their payment information in, every time someone purchases a product. So you can optimize for any given one of those events, okay? And you can always change your events in the events manager of your Facebook business manager. So I would say probably sometimes I'll use traffic as well. That's just to get a high volume of people to a particular location, such as a website, while using the smallest budget or the most affordable budget. But for the most part, conversions is what you'll be doing the most. So I'm going to create an ad that's optimized for conversions. And we'll talk a little bit more about conversions in the ad set section. So I'm going to click continue. And now you can see that we have to complete the settings for campaigns, then the settings for ad set, then for ad. Right now we're in the campaign section, right? First thing you're gonna do is name your campaign. For the reason you want to name your campaign something that is related to the objective of the campaign, right? Obviously, because sometimes your business, you may be running ads for different objectives. So to help you remember what this campaign is for, just name it after the objective of this campaign. I'm just going to use campaign test 1 as an arbitrary name. Next is the special ad categories. You don't really have to worry about this section, because this section is only used if you are running ads for credit card opportunities, employment or housing opportunities, or maybe you're running ads for political or social issues or reasons. Then you have to declare that before you run your ad. But we're only running ads to sell stuff on our Shopify store, so we don't really have to do anything here. So just go ahead and skip this section. Campaign details. This is also a section I generally skip, so I'd advise you to skip it as well. And then A/B test. At a high level, in general, I recommend my students to always be A/B split testing. A/B split testing is extremely important to understanding why an ad is performing good versus why an ad is performing bad, right? If you do not A/B split test, you will never know the answer to those two questions, and it's very difficult for you to improve your ads. If you were to select this, what Facebook would do is it would ask you to complete out this ad, and then it would duplicate this ad and ask you to change one of the settings on the duplicated ad. And it would run both of the ads simultaneously, and then whichever ad does better, you would use that setting for future ads, so that your future ads will perform a little bit better than your ads in the past. And that is obviously, I basically just kind of explained the whole point of A/B split testing, which I would hope that most of you guys already understand why people A/B split test. So I'm going to leave that off for now, just to not make this ad too confusing. And then last is campaign budget optimization. This is a relatively new setting that I haven't had much experience with. What this setting does, if I were to turn this on, what it's going to do is, instead of having an individual budget for every single ad set, it's going to create an overarching umbrella campaign budget, and Facebook is going to intelligently allocate that budget to the ad sets that it thinks will perform better, as opposed to you managing each budget for each ad set yourself. The reason you would not use this setting is if you have ad sets that you want to manage the budget yourself. You want to scale the budgets, you want to keep track of their performance and choose which ad sets you want to scale or which ad sets you want to discontinue. So it's really up to you, but generally I like to have full control of that, because sometimes I will have ad sets for very, very specific audiences, and I want to ensure each audience gets enough budget. So once you complete all this section, so as you can see, the campaign section is probably where which is the fastest section you'll complete. You'll probably spend a little bit more time in the ad set and the ad section. So we're gonna go ahead and click next. And here we are in the ad set section. So the first thing we're going to do is name our ad set. Chances are you're going to be having multiple ad sets. Generally, I name my ad set something that resembles the targeting for that ad set, so I can distinguish that ad set targeting from a different ads targeting. Then the next section is conversions. The reason this section is showing up is because earlier when we were choosing the objective for our campaign, we chose conversions. So now we have to define what particular conversion event we want to optimize our ads for. And events are captured by your pixel. So you have to first choose the pixel that was installed on your website. Chances are you only have one pixel, but if you have two, make sure you choose the right one. So I'm going to choose the Shopify store pixel. I named my pixel Shopify store. And then I'm going to choose a particular event that I want to optimize my ads for. And remember, events are essentially the type of events that your Facebook pixel is trying to capture. So when we installed Shopify to our Facebook using the Facebook channel app, that Facebook channel app automatically installed the Facebook pixel on our website, and it told that pixel to start capturing every time someone performs one of the events that you see here. View content, add payment info, add a product to their cart, so on and so forth, right? And the more people do those activities on your website, the better your Facebook pixel can optimize for future ads and targeting. So I'm going to optimize for conversion purchases. It kind of makes sense that we would want to optimize for purchases, because that's our ultimate goal, right? We want people to buy from our website. So it would make sense that we target our ads to people that are most likely going to purchase. And at the very beginning, your Facebook pixel will not have that much data to go off of, so it's going to be difficult for it to optimize for purchases. But after you get a handful of initial purchases, then your Facebook pixel will be better at optimizing your ads for purchases. It just needs some data to go off of. The next section is dynamic creative. This is where you're going to allow Facebook to intelligently choose your creative elements for you, the headlines for your ad, the images for your ads, and it's going to choose those combinations based on what it thinks will perform the best. So this is just another function. I'm just going to skip it for now, but you can go back and read this later. And then offers. This is to drive more conversions by creating an offer people can save and get reminders about within Facebook. So I don't use this because generally I create my discounts through Shopify, and I use a promo code to kind of provide that discount to people that see my ads. So I don't really need to use this. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this as well. Budget and schedule. So there's two ways you can set up your budget and your scheduling. The budget can be set up with a daily budget, or the budget can be set up with a lifetime budget. And it kind of sounds like what it's called, right? A daily budget means you have a particular amount of money, let's say $5 per day, and your ad is going to spend exactly $5 per day for as many days as you want it to spend. A lifetime budget is where you choose, let's say, $100, and you want to spend that over 7 days or over 10 days. And it's going to spend exactly $100 or close to $100 over those amount of days, where you're going to choose the start date and the end date. You can also have an end date for the daily budget, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll run the daily budget, let's say, I don't know, $5 a day, and I'll choose a start date, and then I'll allow that budget to continue to spending $5 a day until I cancel that ad, or I choose to increase the budget if the ad is doing well, meaning I'll scale that ad up. And that's pretty much all you really need to know for the budget section. Next, we have the audience section. This is where you choose the targeting for your ad set or for your ad. This is by far the most important section in creating an ad. It is very, very vital that you really think about what kind of audience you want your ad to be targeted to. You want to choose targeting that most represents people who are the most likely to visit your website and make a purchase. For example, if you're selling toys, obviously it's intuitive to choose a younger audience for your targeting. If you're selling football gear, you might choose a more male dominant audience, or if you're selling Barbie dolls, then you might choose a more female dominant audience. But again, that's simple thinking. You want to go a little bit even deeper than that. So I'm going to kind of work from the top down here through the different settings. So the first thing you're going to do is kind of choose what type of audience you want to use. You can, of course, create a new audience. If you've never ran an ad before, you would probably choose this setting. And then just work through all these different settings down here to kind of choose that new audience. You can also choose a saved audience, maybe an audience that you saved from a previous ad, and then use that audience again in this ad. You can also choose a custom audience or a lookalike audience, which I think I already explained in a different video, right? You can create a new custom audience by clicking this and then clicking here. Or if you want, you can search a previous custom audience and they should be listed here, right? But for now, I'm just gonna click create new audience. So I'm gonna work from the top down here, starting first with the location settings. If you want to target people in a particular city, state, country, then this is where you would want to type that location in. I oftentimes get lots of questions from students who live outside the United States but want to sell to customers in the United States. Then, if you're trying to accomplish that, then you would want to probably type in United States here, right? Or if you want to be even more specific, you can type in New York, right? Maybe for whatever reason, you're selling something that you think would do well in the New York state. So I'm going to type in New York, right? You can also even exclude certain places. Let's say I want to sell in New York, but I want to exclude people who live in, I don't know, Long Island. So I might type in Long Island. And Long Island, as a FYI, is a city in New York. So I want to sell to people who live in the United States, specifically in New York, but I want to exclude people who live in Long Island. All right. I don't know why I would do that, but I'm just trying to give you an example. Then you want to choose the age range for which you want to target. Again, if you're selling toys, you might want to choose a younger age range. If you're selling something for adults, you might want to choose an older range. I'm not going to mess with this, but I'm just trying to point that out. And then also genders. I would be very careful with choosing genders. You do not want to be discriminating for a particular sex. Facebook has a lot of rules and guidelines around that. So in general, if you can, try to use both genders unless your product is specifically only made for men or females. The next little section is detailed targeting. This is where you're gonna have to spend a lot of time, do a lot of thinking. This is where you're gonna choose your target audience based off various demographics, interests, and behaviors. And it can get very, very detailed. And the more detailed you get, the more detailed in selecting your target audience that you get, the better quality and optimization your ads are gonna have, right? So if you didn't know, you can choose detailed targeting based off so many different demographics, interests, and behaviors. I'm going to walk you through some of them right now. So starting off with demographics. Let's say for the first one is education. Let's say you want to target your ads to people with a particular level of education. Maybe what you're selling is very sophisticated, so you want to target people with a college degree for whatever reason, right? You can choose based off financials, meaning income. Maybe what you're selling requires someone with a lot of money. It's an expensive item, so you want to choose people with a high household income. Maybe life event. Let's say you're selling something for weddings, so you want to choose this one, right? Or newly engaged, right? So you're targeting people that are specifically newly engaged. And if you're wondering how Facebook knows this information, Facebook keeps track of a lot of info about its users, right? So for example, have you guys ever started dating someone and changed your Facebook status to show that you're in a relationship? That is a perfect example of how Facebook is able to target people who are newly in relationships, right? And close this. You can choose people that are newly parents, right? Um, let's say you're selling baby toys or baby clothing, then it would be very important that you select all of these, right? These are people that are newly parents. So you would probably select new parents of 0 to 12 month year olds, parents with, I don't know, parents with preschoolers ages 3 to 5, depending on what age of toys or clothing you're selling, right? You can also sell based off relationship status, which I kind of talked about, right? Maybe you sell things that couples use for, I don't know what, I can't think of an example, but maybe you would select that. You can also target people based off interests. This is a really good one. You can choose people that are interested in particular entertainment, maybe games, movies, things like that. You can choose, maybe you're selling fitness gear, you would want to go in here and select bodybuilding if you're selling weights, or maybe you're selling things that are more spiritual, you might want to choose meditation. um, Maybe you're selling running gear, then you might want to use running. um, so for me, if I were selling iPhone cases, I would probably go into technology, consumer electronics, and look for mobile phones right here and select that, right? That's a good example. um, and then you also can target based off behaviors. So if I click behaviors, this is what people are more likely to do, right? So one that I almost always check is purchase behavior. It is a really powerful one. It's kind of hidden. It says if you select this, then you're going to target people who have clicked on the call to action button shop now in the past week. That means your ads will be targeted to people who have clicked another ad in the last 7 days. If someone is clicking ads, then they're going to be definitely more likely to click your ad, right? So I almost always select this. So I'm going to go ahead and select that right now. Please understand that if I were to choose a second criteria or second targeting, let's say I choose interest and I choose, I don't know, sports, and I choose, let's say, I don't know, baseball. Let's say if I have my targeted set up like this, that means my ads are going to be targeted to people who are engaged shoppers or people who are interested in baseball. I emphasize the word or because the targeting is not going to target people who fulfill both criteria. It's only going to target people who fulfill either criteria. To get your targeting to target people who fulfill both criteria, you have to do something like this. I'm going to show you. You have to narrow your audience, right? So if you click narrow your audience, you'll see that, and then I choose baseball. Let's do that again. I'm just going to type it in, baseball. You'll see that now my ad is going to be targeted to people who are engaged shoppers and must also match the criteria of baseball. That means my ad will be targeted to people who are engaged shoppers and people who are into baseball, right? It is very, very important that you use this button here, narrow further, every time you add on another criteria for targeting, for detailed targeting. On the same token, you can also use the exclude button, meaning it will choose people who are interested in these two things, but they will exclude people who are interested in another XYZ criteria, maybe, I don't know, basketball, right? I don't know why you would ever do this, but for whatever reason, you want people who like baseball but hate basketball. That's a really bad example, but just understand that that is what the exclude button does, right? But in general, I try not to use the exclude too much, but I do use the narrow further multiple times. So generally I'll have 4, 5, 6, 7 criteria, and I'll use this narrow further button 5, 6, 7 times to make my targeting hyper focused. And on the right side here, you will see the potential reach. That means if you were to run your ad indefinitely, you may eventually be able to target your ad to 4.2 million people. All right. And then after that, you would just continue on. If you wanted, you could save this audience for future use. If you did, you would be able to select it in the future using this drop down right here. The next section is placements. There's two options you can use for this section. You can do automatic placements, meaning you allow Facebook to choose where where it wants the ad to show up based on its performance, which is generally recommended. I generally use this. or you can manually place your ads. If I were to select this, I could choose where I want my ad to show up, whether I want it only exclusively to show up on Facebook or exclusively to show up on Instagram. For example, maybe you're running a brand, a t-shirt brand, and you want to only show the ad on Instagram because you believe brand awareness is better on Instagram. I don't know if that's actually the case, but let's say hypothetically that's the case, then you may want to exclusively choose Instagram. But for now, usually I use automatic placements. I just let Facebook take care of it. And then lastly is the optimization and delivery section. I generally don't mess around with this, so you can just go ahead and skip this section and then click next. We're finally at the ad level of creating an ad. And in this section, this is where we choose the creative elements of our ad, what image we're going to use, what video, if we want to use a video, what's the verbiage or headline of our ad, the ad copy, things like that, right? So let's kind of go through the different sections of our creative elements. So the first thing is just naming your ad, right? I would name something that distinguishes this ad from another ad. So something that maybe describes the image or video that you're using, or something that describes the ad copy, meaning the verbiage of your ad. Then the identity section. This is where you're going to choose the Facebook page that you created for your business, so that when people look at your ad, it will link back to your Facebook page. So they can actually visit your Facebook page if they see your ad, right? So you want to make sure your Facebook page looks at least somewhat professional. You can also link an Instagram account here by connecting account. I would only recommend Instagram account if it actually benefits your business, right? Generally, Instagram accounts are better for businesses that have some kind of brand and want some brand awareness. Then we're going to do ad setup. I'm going to skip this section, dynamic formats and creative. Feel free to go back and learn this on your own, but we don't need this. This is optional. And here's where we choose the format of our ad, right? There's a single image or video. There's a carousel, which is literally a scrollable image, scrollable of multiple images, meaning you're trying to show off maybe a collection of 3 or 4 items. And a collection format is where it's kind of like a carousel, but it looks more aesthetically cool. Like it looks really nice and it displays multiple photos. But for now, I'm just going to do single image, which is kind of the basic ad. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to go to add creative. So here's where you're going to choose the image for your ad, right? So generally you're going to be I would recommend running an ad to a specific product, not to your homepage, because your homepage is too specific, right? So we want an ad to run to a particular product. So I'm going to choose an image that represents one of my products. Right? I'm going to sell this wooden iPhone case with this kind of wave graphic on it, these waves of the ocean. I'm going to choose that, click done. On the right here is previews of how your ad will show up depending on where the ad shows up on Facebook or Instagram platforms. You know, it can show up on the news feed, it can show up on the Instagram feed, it can show up at the end of a video as an ad. There's lots of places, and it'll show you different versions of your ad. For example, this is where your ad might show up after someone looks at a Facebook story or an Instagram story, okay? I'm gonna go back here. So now that we have an image, we're gonna do primary text. So we can say, maybe I write wooden, Japanese, I might say Japanese wooden iPhone case, right? Make it sound really, really cool, right? And you'll see that it says Japanese wooden iPhone case here. I might say, I usually like to say the discount first. So 30%, let's say 40% off, right? Japanese wooden iPhone case. I usually want to have some time urgency in there. So I might write 40 next 24 hours to give a sense of urgency. So people have to buy it immediately. And then I might say use promo code wooden 34 or something like that. And I would create this discount code in Shopify. So that's what my primary text would look like, and it would show up right here. This is an example of how it might look, right? For some reason this image has changed, but it'll probably fix itself later. I think I have to link a URL to my ad before this image gets fixed. So just give me a second on that. And then a headline. For headline, it's going to be obviously something more eye-catching, something a little bit shorter. So I'm just going to write Japanese wooden iPhone case, right? Make it sound really cool, because I don't know why, maybe people like that. So here at the bottom, see, the image fixed itself on its own. So here at the bottom it says Japanese wooden iPhone case. And then here it says the primary text, which I wrote right here, right? So that's kind of what it looks like. You can add some optional descriptions here, which won't show up on every type of ad, but it may show up on certain types of ad. But I'm just gonna go ahead and skip that for now. And then here's where you choose the call to action button. You'll see here it says learn more. That's your call to action button. We don't want someone to click learn more. We want it to say purchase now, or where is it? Play game, shop now. That's the button we're looking for, right? So now it says shop now. So it implies that this is a business and where you can purchase this product right here. So if someone sees their ad, they're going to click that right away and they're going to try to purchase our product, right? Hopefully. So that's the ad creative. Here's the ad destination. So for the website URL, this is the URL that someone will go to when they click this button here that says shop now, right? So it is very important that you use the URL for that specific product. Do not use the URL for your homepage of your store. So I have my store open over here. I'm gonna find that exact same product, which is right here. I'm gonna copy the URL, Control C, go over here, paste it in here, right? And boom, now when someone clicks shop now, they'll be brought specifically to this page so that they can buy this product, right? And then I'm just gonna go ahead and minimize that. And then, oops, sorry, I already chose that. Now we're gonna go to languages. It says add your own translations or automatically translate your ad to reach people in other languages. Usually I do not touch this because I'm not very familiar with other languages, so I just leave that blank. So you can go ahead and skip that. If you're really good at different languages, feel free to kind of put in your own translations, but I generally don't touch that. And then lastly is tracking. And when they say tracking, they're talking about a Facebook pixel. So this is where you will select the Facebook pixel that you installed on your Shopify store, right? Or you use you would use the pixel that you installed on your Shopify store, so that this pixel is capturing events for this particular ad, right? So your Facebook pixel is learning from people who click this ad, go to your website, purchase your website, right? If your Facebook pixel is going to capture all that information and then use that information to further optimize your ad and other future ads as well. All right. So I think I skipped this section. Let me go back here to destination. Right here, display link. This is an optional link. Generally, this is the link. If you type something here, it will show up right here. So usually for this display link, I'll write, www. And I'll use the name, the homepage, the actual main URL of my store. So let's say it's PrincetonIPhoneCases.com, right? Let's say that's my professional business domain names, right? And that will show up right here. I don't know why it's not showing up right now, but it will once I kind of click away from it. It just hasn't updated. Sometimes this preview thing is a little kind of wonky and it doesn't update right away, but just understand that this link right here will show up right here. And that is pretty much it. Then you're gonna click publish, and what will happen is Facebook will then review your ad. So your ad will not automatically publish right away. It will take some time, generally, I don't know, less than 24 hours to more, less, maybe 1 or 2 days. This is because Facebook has a lot of rules, guidelines, and compliances around running ads. Obviously, you can't run an ad, a racist ad or a sexist ad, right? So Facebook is going to go through your ad, make sure you didn't break any of its rules or regulations. I would highly recommend that you take a second out of your day before you start running ads to review all of Facebook ads rules and regulations, because if you break a rule or regulation multiple times, they can shut down your entire Facebook business manager, and you would have to go through all of this over. You would have to create your Facebook business manager again. You would have to connect your Facebook pages, your Instagram accounts. You would have to create a new ad account. You would have to create new ads, all those things. So you do not want your Facebook business manager account to be shut down. So make sure you follow all the rules and guidelines. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next video.